My boyfriend is getting too comfortable. We've been together 2 years, living together for 1. At first, he was the guy who'd leave little notes on my coffee mug and remember every single thing I mentioned in passing. He'd text me during his lunch break just to ask how my day was going. He'd notice if I seemed off and actually push until I told him what was wrong. He remembered the name of my difficult coworker, the professor who kept giving me grief, the friend who had been stressing me out. He paid attention. That version of him felt like a person who actually wanted to show up for me. Then slowly, like a frog in boiling water, everything just shifted. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment it changed. That's the thing about this kind of slow fade. You don't notice it happening until you're already somewhere completely different from where you started. One day you're in a relationship where you feel seen, and the next you're standing in your own kitchen wondering when you became invisible. It started small. He'd say he'd cook dinner. I'd wait. I'd ask how it was coming. He'd say soon. By 10 p.m., I'd quietly make myself cereal and eat it standing over the sink because I didn't want to make it a whole thing. He'd promise to handle laundry. I'd open the machine a few days later to find only his gym clothes washed, mine still sitting in the hamper. He'd agree to clean the bathroom. He'd say, yeah, I'll get to it. 3 weeks later, I'd do it myself because I physically couldn't look at it anymore. Every single time he agreed. That's what got me. He never said no. He'd say yes and then just not do it. And when I followed up, he'd act like I was nagging him over nothing, like I was being unreasonable for expecting him to follow through on things he volunteered to do. I kept brushing it off, figured he was tired, stressed, going through something he wasn't telling me about. I kept handing him excuses he never even asked me for. I was over here building him a case for the defense and he didn't even know he was on trial. I told myself it was a phase and that phase's end. I told myself he would come back around eventually. I told myself that relationships go through seasons and this was just a rough patch, and if I was just patient enough and understanding enough and didn't push too hard, he'd remember who he used to be. Then my birthday weekend happened. I'd been talking about it for months, not in a demanding way, just excited. I had this restaurant I'd been wanting to try forever. Small place, hard to get a table, the kind of spot you have to plan for. I mentioned it so many times that I genuinely assumed we were on the same page. He told me he had it handled, said not to worry, he was taking care of it, I just needed to show up and look pretty. I believed him. I bought a dress, got a blowout, told my friends I had plans because my boyfriend was doing something special for my birthday. Then Friday night came. I'm fully dressed, standing in the hallway, and I casually ask what time our reservation is. He goes quiet. Not the kind of quiet where someone is trying to remember a detail. The kind of quiet where someone is buying time. I look at him, and he says, I thought you were booking it. I wasn't. That was never discussed. Not once. I had explicitly asked him to handle it, and he had explicitly said he would. I replayed every conversation we'd had about it in my head in about 4 seconds, and there was zero ambiguity. He said he had it. I watched him pick up his phone and start Googling restaurants at 7 p.m. on a Saturday night, like that was gonna go well. Like every decent place in the city was just going to have a table for 2 sitting open on a weekend evening. Everything was full. We ended up in a drive-thru on my birthday. I sat in the passenger seat, eating fast food in the dress I'd bought 2 months ago, and I just went quiet. Not angry quiet, just done quiet. The kind of quiet that comes after you've said something so many times that your body stops seeing the point in trying anymore. And I thought about all of it. Every dinner I made when he said he would. Every load of laundry I ran because he only washed his own stuff. Every plan I quietly picked up off the floor because he dropped it and assumed I'd be there to catch it. Every time I told myself he was just going through something and gave him more grace than he ever asked for. And I realized this man doesn't have a bad memory. He doesn't forget. He just knows somewhere in the back of his mind that I will always step in, that I will always cover it, that no matter how many times he drops the ball, I will be right there to pick it up before it hits the ground. He's not struggling. He's comfortable. And that night, sitting in a drive-thru parking lot on my birthday in a dress I had no business wearing to a fast food restaurant, I decided I was done being the person who made his comfort possible. That's when I finally stopped.